I'd like to give a big shout out to all my regular listeners. As a token of my appreciation, here are some free tickets to the Podcast Finance Week event, which will be held on March 26th to 28th. This event costs $39, but as faithful listeners, you are welcome to tune in and learn all things finance, such as budgeting, investing, etc. by using the coupon code uppercase P PODBEAN. So it's PODBEAN uppercase FPW. Again, the coupon code is PODBEAN uppercase FPW. The sign-up information can be found in the show notes below. Thanks once again for tuning in.
Imagine you move from a place where you lived all your life. Imagine you move and you leave all your children and wife. Starting all over again, but no one you know is around. Well, they didn't have to imagine. They built it up from the ground. How does it sound? Not easy because it isn't. Could have praised them, but it didn't. But the Ray Bond, that's a winner. And they ran straight to the finish. You get to know them up close and personal. Wait, just give me a minute. Welcome to the front row. Can I get a drum roll? Intentional. We may be immigrants, but we are still intentional. We are dependable. It's just that set the bar, but still the best of all. We are intentional.
Welcome to the Intentional Immigrants Podcast. Here we look at immigrants and their journeys to settle in a new unfamiliar place. They, as pioneers, have embarked on uncharted territories so that you will be able to share in their trials, challenges, joys, and triumphs. We will learn from them so that you will not make the same mistakes. If you are a new immigrant, take hope. There is a light at the end of your tunnel. You are not alone. Others have gone before you, and they have left a light for you to see. Today's guest is MardeneCarr. Mardene is from the beautiful island of Jamaica. She is a trained librarian, author, speaker, and small business owner. Mardene is a graduate of the University of the West Indies, University of Texas, Louisiana State University, and DeVry University. She is currently pursuing doctoral studies in organizational leadership at Grand Canyon University. As an expatriate librarian, she has worked in Cayman Islands, Bahamas, Barbados, Dominica, and the USA. Mardene migrated to the USA in 2014 and lived in Florida before settling in Georgia in 2019. Mardene volunteers as a journal reviewer and facilitator for Girls Who Code. Let's listen as Mardene shares her story. Here are some interesting facts about Jamaica. Jamaica is a former British colony. It gained its independence from Britain on August 6, 1962. Its population is approximately 2.7 million people. Its official language is English. Its location is in the Caribbean, south of Cuba. The capital of Jamaica is Kingston. Its flag colors are black, green, and gold. It's separated as follows. A diagonal yellow cross divides the flag into 4 triangles, green at the top and bottom, and black on the hoist side and outer side. Hi, Mardene. Welcome to the Intentional Immigrants Podcast. I'm happy that you're able to join us this evening.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Okay, it's been a while, so it's good to see you, good to hear from you.
Yes, it's really been a while.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so let's start off. Tell us a bit about yourself. Where do you reside and how long ago did you migrate?
I live in Covington, Georgia. I migrated in 2014. Yeah, I migrated in 2014, but we were in Florida first, and then we moved over to Covington, Georgia, which is not as bustling as Fort Lauderdale, but it's quiet. And since I worked from home, I, decided to, because things are a lot, everything is a lot cheaper here in terms of housing, car insurance, everything.
Okay, that makes sense. Where are you from originally?
Trelawney, Albertown.
That's Jamaica.
Yeah.
So you're from Jamaica originally. Have you had the chance to return home?
Of course, I cannot return home. I think I'll fall to pieces. I need to go home at least once a year to survive in a foreign country.
Once a year?
At least. But I'll go more than once.
Okay. My threshold is 2 years. I need to go back every 2 years to keep.
I'm literally dying now. Like I feel like I've gone back because of the whole pandemic. I'm just watching it to see, how to process the whole thing. But I try to go every year. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to work. I can work from anywhere now. So
that's nice.
So when I go home, I probably stay like 6 months. I don't know.
Oh, okay. What do you miss most about the country of your birth?
The vibes. I think there's a vibe about Jamaica that I have not seen anywhere else. And I have I did expat work in Bahamas, Dominica, Barbados, and Cayman.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think a lot of people will understand what I'm talking about. There's just this thing about Jamaica, when you're in Jamaica, that there's this vibe that nobody has ever been able to imitate. I've not seen it. Well, it's probably there, but I've not seen it in the countries that I have been to.
Okay.
And the other states that I live. And I think that is why we have such a thriving community in foreign countries, like wherever Jamaicans are, they congregate.
Yeah.
And if there's a Jamaican restaurant, you could kill everybody Jamaican if you want on a Friday evening because it's like we don't want anything else. So it's that, and the food, of course. I mean that's where my family is. So.
Okay. Yes, that vibe of.
You can't explain it.
I can't explain it. I think it's more that.
You have to know it. You have to feel
it. That carefree, that lively, carefree. Yeah. Knowing that everything is gonna be all right.
Yes, and you find the same kind of vibe wherever you find a lot of Jamaicans. Like Fort Lauderdale is like Jamaica.
Mini Jamaica, yeah?
Oh my God. Every corner there's a Jamaican restaurant, every corner there's a Jamaican. The thing about Jamaicans is when we're in a foreign country and we come across each other, is like there are no strangers.
Yeah, we know each other.
You just need to be a Jamaican.
Even if we didn't know each other from back home,
right. Right.
Yes. What place or activity would you recommend to someone visiting your country for the first time? A must-see, must-have, must experience.
Well, I think everybody wants to see the great Dunn's River Fall, but I think the lesser falls are also a good thing to recommend because it's unexpected. Like the Wise Falls, and there are some other great falls, smaller falls in Jamaica that is unexpected. So while everybody come, I want to see Dunn's River. Yes, I recommend that because you notice that every foreigner wants to go there, so you can't deny them that. But I would also tell them about the other lesser known falls because those are good.
Okay, thanks. What product or service do you offer?
Okay, so there is proofreading, there's editing, there's ghostwriting, there is web page design and management, there's digital marketing, there is general research, and there's general research and consultation, especially for small business consultation, particularly female entrepreneurs. I do leadership training and remote teaching, online teaching at the university level, university teaching and remote librarianship. I mostly focus on female entrepreneurs though. And because of that, I give a huge discount to Jamaican female entrepreneurs. I give a discount to every female entrepreneur, but those that are Jamaicans, I kind of have a soft spot for them. So I normally give them another discount. So I focus on helping women to start small businesses, helping them to locate some people who are looking for grants and funding for nonprofits and stuff like that, because there are people who they're not really in it to make any money. So I help them to find grants.
Interesting. The market segment you say would be female entrepreneurs, and it doesn't matter what type of business they're into.
It doesn't matter because every business pretty much has might have an area that I can help it. So let's say, and I don't just work with women, but I find that most of my clients are women.
Okay.
Right. So let's say somebody wants to publish a book and they write the book, but they need somebody to edit it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll do that because, and I also teach writing because I think, I don't know, I think a lot of, I realize that a lot of persons struggle with writing and I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because we are from a country where we write until our fingers have bunion. Well, in this country, I realize that they're so used to the standardized testing and the multiple choice that writing is such a struggle. So, I mean, that's a lot of times I come in, that's where I come in with that.
Writing skills. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
By training, you are a librarian. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. What's the name of your business?
Concierge Librarian.
How did you, yes, I know you're a librarian by training.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved in starting your own business though?
Well, all my life, my friends have, read this for me. Read this for me, please. Read this for me, please. I have been unofficially doing a lot of this stuff in terms of the editing and proofreading. And then after a while, I'm like, it started getting, I'm like, guys, I'm going to have to start charging you. So that's where it started with the proofreading and the editing. I have a lot of friends who are in university who, when it comes to writing, they're like, oh my God. So I started charging them. And then I realized people started hearing about me and then people would come. And there was one person who asked me to ghostwrite. So stuff like that. So people started hearing about it. And once you do a good job,
yeah,
you do a good job and it pretty much sells itself, you know.
How long ago have the business been in operation?
Officially 2014, that's when it was registered and all of that, those good things. But unofficially, about 2000, I started
doing it
charging
informally
for my service.
Doing it informally. Okay.
Right. Yes.
Share an experience that blew you away in terms of the impact of your service.
I think when I was in Florida at the library, this young lady, because what I do is sometimes I offer free courses, and from that free courses, you sometimes pick up a couple customers.
Yeah.
And I always encourage entrepreneurs, do some pro bono or whatever you want to call it. You know, do something free. So one girl that was there, and she wanted to do a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. And so I pretty much walked her through the whole thing. And she started the nonprofit. Yeah, I built her website and she still contacts me. She's in Florida, but I mean, we still have a good relationship in the sense that she still runs things by me if she has to start something new and stuff like that. Okay. That's a good one. Because she had a product that her nonprofit is called Little Miss Proverbs 31.
Okay.
Yeah, and so she deals with girls in terms of just teaching them from early how to conduct themselves, how to deal with the things around them and stuff like that. So
share a difficulty and the lessons learned as a result of that experience.
Okay, I can tell you many, but I left Jamaica to come to graduate school in Texas for the first time, and my tuition was in Jamaica that was to be sent to me. When I arrived,
it got lost by the way.
To this day, it has not come. So I'm like, I was walking around the campus, but I am a person who wherever I see something to read on a notice board, I never pass a notice board without looking what's on the notice board. And when I looked on the notice board, because I was really like, God, what am I going to do? I mean, so when I looked on the notice board, it said, are you an international student and your fees are not here yet? Fees are not here yet. Please come into the international students department and let us talk. So I went in gingerly and I pushed my head in and she's like, come on in. And I said, so I told her the situation. She's like, no problem. And do you need money for rent? And I was like, yeah. So they had a program at the school, and that is why I always introduce people to that school for international students. They had a program at the school where you can start the semester, and then you have until the end of the semester to pay for that semester. You have to pay before you start the next semester. And that's what I did. And pretty much the whole time I went to graduate school, I have learned I truly learned the meaning of leaning on God. And I have never been the same. There's nothing that comes at me since then that kind of ruffles my feathers. For a moment, I might be like, but then I remember that experience, and I'm like, nope, you can't faze me.
Not today. Okay. What's your personal philosophy or mantra?
Treat people how you would want to be treated. That has always been it for me, and how you would want, if you have kids, how you would want people to treat your kids.
Are there any tips for my listeners?
Don't ever let anybody sideline you. I mean, if you decide that you want to do X, then do it. You shouldn't, like you decide that you want to do this podcast. You say to a friend, I want to do this podcast, and the friend discourages you to the point where you're like, I don't think I should again. No, whatever it is, even if you be confident in whatever decision you decide to make, and whatever you think you can do, don't let anybody sideline you or say to you, I don't think you can do that. Just trust in your own abilities and do it.
Thank you.
And yes, you can listen to their advice. I'm not saying that we cannot listen to advice, but don't because sometimes persons do not see the vision that you see. And if you have seen the vision and this is what you think you can do and you want to do it, thank them for their advice, but don't let it derail you to the point that you start doubting yourself.
Or don't go ahead with your plans.
Don't do it. Because once people don't see the vision that you have, it's difficult for them. And I can understand the limits that people put on themselves, but don't put any limits on yourself, really.
Share a morning routine or ritual which has helped you well.
Well, exercise and spending time with God. I find that my day goes smoothly when I take some time to, if you're not a Christian, then meditate on something positive, because, not everybody are that. So meditate on something positive, and if you can, exercise. And exercise doesn't have to be a big elaborate thing. If you can walk around the block or do something to get your mind and body ready for the day.
Recommend a must-read book. So that's a book that you have read or are reading, which has helped you well.
Well, the only book I'm recommending right now is my book that I just published in December. The book is called Way Before the Proposal. And I recommend it because Way Before the Proposal is pretty much a different look at premarital counseling, and the reason why it is so important for persons to take the time to do it properly. Because what I found, and the reason why I wrote the book, was, my ministry has been to young people and still is. And I found that a lot of my young people were getting divorced by they were 30. And I found that kind of weird. And it was really stressful on them. And when you talk to them, I realized that they were not prepared for what is to happen in marriage. And it had to do with the premarital counseling. It's like many churches gloss over it. Because after all, we're Christians, we don't need to take all that time, that kind of thing. So that's what's on the forefront of my mind right now in terms of that's the book.
How can my listeners make contact with you?
Well, they can email me at MardeneCarr, MardeneCarr @gmail.com. And my website is CONCIERGE librarian.com.
Okay. So you do assist persons, like if persons are writing up a research paper or anything like that, you do help with citation and...
Yeah. And I'll edit the document, but they have to write it, because if they don't write it and I write it,
Yeah. That's
Plagiarism.
plagiarism, yeah.
They have to do something, and it might not be a fantastic paper, but they have to write something, and then I can edit it, because there are persons who contact me to write the paper, and I'm like, mm-mm.
Oh no,
That's
that's
plagiarism.
not the extent of your services.
No, that is plagiarism, and
Okay.
there are people who do that. But yeah, so yeah,
Okay.
research paper. If you're publishing a journal article, if you're publishing a book.
Thank you, Mardene.
Alrighty.
Thank you to the following persons and websites who made this podcast possible. MardeneCarr of Concierge, Librarian. Xavier Anderson for providing music. Facts about Jamaica were found on www.countryfacts.com. I'm inviting you to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. The podcast can be found on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, as well as YouTube. Until next time, I am your host, Yolanda Jack, reminding you, he who watches the wind will not sow, he who watches the clouds will not reap. Ecclesiastes 11 verse 4. You were born for greatness. Step out into your greatness so that mankind can benefit from you being here. So long, until next time.
It's just that